Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to a new episode of Chasing 80s Toys. Long ago, before the time of Skeletor and Hordak, there was a far more older evil presence on the planet of Eternia. The Snake Man.
Tongue Lasher and Rattler, new from the Masters of the Universe, each sold separately from Mattel. Are you ready for the Snake Men?
Today's video is all about the Snake Man, and let's start this video with introducing the old crew from the 80s. Released by Mattel for the Masters of the Universe toy line, 1984 gave us the first figure in this Snake Man lineup. 84, Cobra Khan. Officially, he wasn't called the Snake Man back then, he was one of Skeletor's henchmen, and you can also see him pop up on the Filmation cartoon series at the time. Then in 86 we got King Hiss, leader of the Snake Man, with two of his evil minions, Tongue Lasher on this side and Rattler on the other side. Then to top it off, in 87 we got the two latest addition to the Snake Man crew, Squeeze on this side and Snake Face on that side. It took many years until now in the Masters of the Universe Origins toy line that we finally see the same scale of figures return from the Snake Man, and that's what I like to show you next. And now it's time to meet the new gang from the Origins toy line. From left to right, Rattler, King Hiss and Cobra Khan. And one of the Snake Men is missing that I like to collect as well, and that's Tongue Lasher. He isn't around in the Netherlands yet, but he will pop up anytime soon, so he won't be far behind. And those are really the four Snake Men I like to collect for my collection. Brings back a lot of memories from the 80s seeing these guys here. Small changes to the packaging. You can clearly see what team you are collecting with Snake Man artwork on the card back. Sticker of the Snake Man up here, and funny detail as well, the side of the bubble you get snake scale skin, so that's a pretty cool detail as well. I'm gonna open these and of course compare them with their counterparts from the 80s, which are around in my toy room anyway, so it's fun to see how much they have evolved over the times, and there are differences between the vintage and the Origins ones. We are gonna kick things off with Cobra Khan, the first of the Snake Men we saw in 84 in the vintage toy line. But before I open the card back, let's take a look at that beautiful artwork on the back of the card. Also on the back you can see some of the other figures in the lineup. Here we see Baldman and Snake Armor He-Man, two cool figures, but I'm not really going for those myself. Only Tongue Lasher will join the ranks of my Origin Snake Man, and that will be enough for me. Also we can see the action feature going on here with Cobra Khan, and this is immediately where we see a difference between Cobra Khan Origins and the vintage one. But more about that later. Let's first open up this card bubble. And here we have Cobra Khan released from the bubble, standing next to the vintage Khan. And it's pretty cool seeing them side by side. As you can see, a lot more dynamic posing going on with the new one. They kept true with the color scheme. As you can see, he still has his laser gun, his weapon. And also included is this small bit of accessory, which I will talk about in a little while. There is an instruction sheet telling you how to remove, or at least which body parts can be removed, and that's all for the party trick of mixing and matching your figure, creating your own custom Origins figures if you like. There is a mini comic going into the background story of Baldman and the Snake Man, but there's not much to read on that background here because there's no text bubbles. This is worldwide release, so no text bubbles for us in the Netherlands. but we do get some pretty cool artwork in a mini comic. But of course, the figure itself is why we bought it, and he looks great with that posing going on. Of course, articulation in order to create those poses comes at a price, and that's the party trick of the 80s one. Filling up this container with water and then pressing the head allows Cobra Khan to spray a mist of water vapor on his enemies, paralyzing them, putting them to sleep. And that was always a cool party trick in the 80s, but due to the articulation we no longer have that gimmick with the Origins figures. Instead of that, to recreate that, you can insert this part into the mouth of Cobra Khan and displaying him while he's spewing his venom towards his enemy in order to paralyze the opponent. I don't think I'm gonna display him with this funny looking thing in his mouth. I think I'm just gonna display him like this. That's how he looks the best for me.
They're getting away! What are you doing, Rattler?
And here we have the next Snake Man in the lineup we're going to unbox today. First, take a look at that artwork on the back of the card back. Pretty cool action scene going on here between Rattler and Snake Armor He-Man. We see Snake Mountain in the background over there as well. The party trick, which we will see in a bit, how that differs from the Rattler from the 80s. Again, some of the other figures in the lineup. Alright, let's get him open and see what's what. And there he is, Origins Rattler next to the 80s Rattler, released from his card bubble, which comes with the same mini comic as Cobra Khan, so we're not gonna get into that too much now. Just dive into the figure straight away, and the vintage one came with 2 party tricks. Rattler actually made a rattling noise by shaking him, which was pretty cool at the time and still pretty cool today. And there is this switch on the back, and by pressing him he can do his special attack, smashing over his opponents with his attack like that. Now let's see how many of those special party tricks Origins Rattler still has. Does he rattle? Yes, he rattles like a rattlesnake, so that's cool. But due to articulation we lost the switch on his back and the ability to do that special attack. We did get an extra part with this figure, recreating the look, so you can at least display him as he did that attack. I think, yeah, that's the right way. Yeah, that looks good side by side. It's cool that we at least get to display him with that action feature, even though we don't have that action feature anymore with the Origins one. The weapon is what seems to be a one-on-one copy of the snake staff we got back in the 80s, which he holds good into his hands. And there you have another cool figure, one of my favorite of Snake Man, next to Tongue Lasher, Rattler. So is it a shame in this case that we lost that party trick with the extended neck? Yeah, for this figure I would have loved to see that action feature as well. But I understand articulation is a cool party trick as well, so it's one thing or the other. And like I said before and in many videos, being a bit older now than I was back in the 80s, displaying is the way I play the most with my figures. So being able to display him like this or without this neck piece works either way for me. And now let's make room for the king of the Snake Man, King Hiss. There we have King Hiss, king of the Snake Man. Before I'm going to get him off the card back and compare him to the vintage, showing the party trick from the new one and the vintage one. And I have a feeling I'm going to favor the Origins one over the vintage as far as that party trick. But first, have a look at the artwork on the back of that deluxe card back. It's beautiful again. Also showing the party trick and some of the other figures again in the line-up of the Snake Man. There we have Origins King Hiss next to the vintage King Hiss from '86. Also included is a new mini comic for this one, for this deluxe figure. There we see Thunder Punch He-Man next to King Hiss and the Sorceress in the background. Mechanic also seems to be making an appearance here. And again, beautiful artwork, though without the text bubbles. Comes with the snake staff in light lime green, like we got back in the 80s. Comes with same similar looking shield, like we got back in the 80s. Always found as a kid he looked rather smiling and friendly, like, hey, I'm a good guy, can I help you with something? And then he would transform into his evil mode, showing the snakes. It was a cool party trick, I guess. Never favored him as much as Tongue Lasher and Rattler, but there you have it. Now let's see how that compares to the Origins one, and if that managed to strike a more imposing, frightening scene than this old King Hiss. Already like it a lot that you can move the head. Now you get more articulation here, so this and this isn't one molded piece. And of course, like the one from the vintage, he can shed his skin and turn into an evil snake monster, snake god, or whatever you want to call it. You start by taking off the arms and clicking in place his snake arms. Immediately this looks way more impressive. Well, look at those. Right, then the head comes off, and then you can remove his torso armor, click on the snake head, and if that doesn't look intimidating, I don't know what does. Seeing them side by side like this, if I can get him to stand up, take some balancing because there's a lot of weight on the arms now. Just look at that. Compare this to that. You tell me which of the two is more frightening, more imposing. Origins King Hiss definitely wins of the vintage for me. And with that, we've reached the end of today's video, showing you the new Origins Snake Man and comparing them with my figures from the 80s. And I hope you enjoyed this video. For me, there definitely were a few surprises. That King Hiss, I didn't realize I liked him that much. He was a big surprise for me. Also, I like seeing an old friend in Rattler return, though it's a bit of a shame he lost that party trick with the extended neck attack, but still he looks pretty awesome in that pose. And I can't wait for Tongue Lasher to show up. Won't be long now, he's on his way, and that completes my set of Origins Snake Man that I like to add to my collection. Okay, that's all for today's video. Thanks everyone who stayed with us watching, and I hope to see each and every one of you on the next one.